Faye Carruthers, news and sports journalist at Talk Sport, Luton Town fan, football fan, all-round sports fan, watch football, talk football, love football, and I'm a woman. This ever so complicated offside rule that's causing such fuss isn't actually that complicated at all. I could use salt and pepper pots to demonstrate, but since we're on radio that's not going to work, so I'll try and explain it as simply as I can. A player is offside if he or she's nearer to the other team's goal line than the ball and the second to last opposition player. If you're in that position when the ball's played or touched by one of your team and the referee thinks that you're either interfering with play or an opponent or you're gaining an advantage by being in that position, then basically you're offside. Are you following? You can't be offside though if you're in your own half. Nor are you offside if you're level with the second to last player. And you also can't be offside from a goal kick, a throw-in or a corner. Are you with me? Or do I need to get the Sabutio figures out?
Well, that was Faye Carruthers, and I couldn't have put the offside rule more succinctly than that myself. I don't know if Katie Hopkins could have as succinctly parsed the offside rule, but that doesn't matter, because her point of view is that this brouhaha over Andy Gray and Richard Keys is, well, dangerous for women, in the sense that it seems to imply or portray women as having no sense of humour and of seeking vengeance on men. I hope I've characterised her point of view properly, because she's on the line now. Katie, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Have I summed up your point of view accurately, and would you like to expand on it?
Yes, I think that was very fair. My point of view, which I expressed on Question Time last night, which has appeared to have caused some furore, is that Britain as a nation, specifically its females, have lost their collective sense of humour. I think the boys at Sky Sports were just having some banter between themselves. It's well known that the offside rule is something that women typically fail to understand in football. It was just a gag, and there was no need to take it as seriously as they have done. I also think that women, by going to these lengths with people like Karen Brady jumping on the bandwagon, shouting about sexism, it just does women a disservice and makes us all look like complete frenzied nutters, which we're not. So my point of view is that the Sky Sports presenters should have been left in their role. They were doing a good job, and the women have gone a bit mad.
Well, I certainly agree with you that they were doing a good job, and I've watched them several times a week for almost 20 years, and Sky Sports is probably the best sports organisation in the world.
Of course.
And those two are probably the best presenters. But that doesn't mean that the comments that they were found to have made through the leaking of taped material, presumably, well, it must be by someone else at Sky Sports, were not deeply offensive. Let me ask you this. You may not know this, because I don't know how big a football fan you are, but Ron Atkinson never worked again after he was found to have said, equally off-air, that Marcel Desailly, a French black player of great majesty, was a thick, lazy N-word. And, of course, as soon as this bigotry became public knowledge, he was sacked from ITV, and he never would be engaged by anyone again. And I'm sure that you would agree that that kind of comment is repugnant. What's the difference between that and the comments made about women by Gray and Keys?
Yeah, and I do agree with you that that sort of comment is repugnant, but I have to go back to where Gray and Keys were coming from, which is that to the best of their knowledge, they were chatting to each other. They've worked with each other, as you say, for 20-plus years, and this is banter. This is banter in the workplace. It's banter in corporate environments that I work in. When I used to be in the military, it's what the lads survived on, was a bit of banter. Excuse me. And it's nothing that is harmful, and it's nothing that's meant to cause offence. It's just something that helps you get through the day and make things a bit more lively. Now, when it did come out that this stuff had gone to air, that it had gone live, and that someone was leaking stuff behind their backs, which was entirely without cause and clearly malicious, and they went straight away and they said sorry. They said sorry to Sean Massey. They said sorry to people that were offended, but that wasn't good enough. You know, we still had to go after their skins. We had to get them sacked. We had to have it so that one of them resigned. And I think that's just very unfortunate. I think what we're in danger of doing is insisting that our society is completely politically correct, that there's no shades of colour, that everything has to be magnolia. And I think that's just very unfortunate. You know, the British people are known for their sense of humour. Americans don't get our sense of humour, but they know that we've got something they don't have. And I think it would be a great pity if we lost it. And I feel very sorry for the gentlemen at Sky Sports that have become the victims of this ongoing saga.
And presumably their wives who've had to cope with the loss of £1.7 million a year salaries.
I mean, there's just a whole knock-on effect, isn't there? And the fact that at the moment those guys are probably encamped inside their houses, unable to get out because of the level of media attention they're facing. And I think it's just very unfortunate that from one flippant remark intended as a moment of humour between two long-suffering work colleagues has done this amount of devastation. And as a female, I'm not offended. And as a female, I feel very sorry for what's happened to them.
Are you a little surprised at some of the outbreaks of political correctness in, for example, in The Sun and the Daily Star?
I am a little bit, yes. I'm increasingly concerned that what I would call BBC political correctness, which is, as you would expect, to be middle of the road, is starting to permeate and infiltrate areas where typically we have seen at least some sparks of opinion. And I really don't want that to happen. You know, last night the panel I was sat with on Question Time, they're all politicians, career politicians, apart from Will Self, and so they're all protecting their interests. They're all trying to say the right thing. They're all trying to do what the briefing papers have told them to do and say what they've been told to say. And I think there needs to be a few of us that will still stand up and say what we think is right. And the things that are right are that lads that are just doing a good job, they're talking about a sport they love, to lads that love football, they're not hurting anybody. They were having a good time and we need to let them be. And my email inbox, it's been brilliant today. The number of people just emailing in saying, thank God, someone finally prepared to speak out over this politically correct sea of nonsense that we face. And I would encourage and urge more people to do the same.
And what about that politically correct lady, Edwina Currie? She seemed to take a particular dislike to your point of view last night.
Yes, well, I think, you know, that old dragon has seen that her time has come and gone and is making her last bid for the sunshine and the limelight. I don't think that someone with her kind of morals could be seen to be lecturing to me at any point. And
yes, you could have referred her to Mrs. Major for a second opinion.
Yes, I think Norma probably would have had a few things to say to Edwina, and just because she has big hair, it doesn't mean that she has big morals, and I think she's not one for me at all.
Well, I thought you did much better tonight, Katie, than you did last night, if that's any consolation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Katie Hopkins, businesswoman from Apprentice 3, and from last night's Question Time, with the absolute opposite point of view to that expressed by the New Statesman columnist and blogger Laurie Penny. So now, it's up to you. Where do you stand on this subject?